There's a moment you know you've hit your limit. You don't always blow up, you don't always scream, you just feel something in you quietly. Switch off. One too many lies. One more joke that cut too deep. Being taken for granted again. Realizing for the 100th time that when you talk, no one really listens. Your replies get shorter, then slower, then stop. Invitations go unanswered. Group chats get muted, maybe blocked. You don't make a big speech, you just remove yourself. Sometimes it isn't just one person, it's everyone. You stop going to family gatherings. You disappear from friend circles. You vanish off social media without an announcement. Meanwhile, you watch other people stay, process, argue, negotiate for months, while your instinct keeps whispering, just leave. If you've ever walked away from almost everyone in your life, and even you weren't sure why, what I'm about to tell you about your wiring is something most people like you never get to hear. And it might completely change how you see your cut everyone off phase. People around you usually don't read it as protection, they read it as a problem. You've probably heard, "You're so cold, you're toxic, you can't keep friends, you just ghost people." Maybe someone told you, you cut people off over nothing, not seeing the 100 small cuts you swallowed along the way. From the outside, all they see is the end. One day you were in the group, in the chat, at the table, and then you weren't. Inside, it's not that simple. Part of you feels justified. I gave chances. I stayed longer than I should have. I was drowning. Another part quietly asks, am I the common denominator? Do I give up too easily? Is there something wrong with me that I would rather lose everyone than keep trying? See other people fix things, talk things out, stay close through mess end? Your instinct is still to shut the door. Most people like you either wear "I cut everyone off" like armor or secretly hate themselves for it. But what if that reaction didn't start as a flaw at all? At all, what if it started as the smartest way your nervous system knew to keep you safe? What most people don't realize is that cutting people off isn't always about not caring. It's often about having a very strong self-protection instinct wired into you. Psychology suggests that when you've lived through enough betrayal, chronic disrespect, emotional chaos, or one-sided relationships, your brain becomes pattern sensitive. Once it recognizes a familiar kind of harm, it stops wanting to negotiate and starts wanting an exit. Your system quietly decides, talking hasn't changed this. Explaining myself just drains me. The safest move now is distance, that everyone is cut off. Phase can actually be your nervous system doing a hard reset, slamming doors not because you're heartless, but because somewhere inside you, the message is, I refuse to keep bleeding for this. In the next part, we're going to unpack what your brain is tracking when it decides it's done, how it notices patterns, why silence feels safer than confrontation, and where this instinct both protects you, sometimes costs you more than it needs to. To understand this, you have to see what your mind is actually doing in the background. First, there's pattern tracking. You're not just reacting to one comment or one bad day. Your brain has been keeping score. The small jabs, the forgotten favors, the one-sided effort, the apologies with no real change. Other people might brush each thing off as no big deal. You add them up. At some point, your system quietly concludes, I've seen this movie. I know how it ends. When you finally cut everyone off, it's rarely out of nowhere. It's the last page of a very long log. Then there's nervous system safety, long confrontations, explaining yourself, giving 10 more chances. That all costs energy, especially if you're introverted or sensitive. Being in ongoing conflict feels like leaving a wound open. Disappearing can feel like the cleanest way to stop the bleed. No more gaslighting. No more questioning what you felt. No more being talked out of your own reality. Silence and distance become your way of saying, my peace is more important than keeping this door half open. And beneath that is your trust threshold, built from past hurt. If talking it out used to lead to temporary change, and then the same pain again, your body learned words don't equal safety. So when that internal line is crossed, you don't step back a little, you shut the gate. From the outside, people just see you cut everyone off. From the inside, it's pattern logs, energy conservation, and learned mistrust all firing at once. The next question is, when is that instinct wise and? When is it quietly cutting deeper than you actually need it to? This is where it gets uncomfortable. Your cutoff instinct has probably saved you more than once. It pulled you out of relationships that were slowly draining you from people who would have kept taking as long as you stayed. That's real wisdom. But the same instinct can start cutting too early or too wide, blocking someone over a misunderstanding. Disappearing instead of saying that wasn't okay, or never letting anyone close enough to prove they're different. On the surface, it looks like high standards. Underneath, it can quietly turn into loneliness, dressed up as protection. The turning point is being able to pause and ask yourself, right now, am I protecting myself from real harm? Or from the discomfort of being vulnerable, honest, or disappointed? That one question is often the line between a boundary that saves you and a pattern that slowly isolates you. When you see it this way, your story stops being, "I'm cold and can't keep anyone in my life," and starts sounding more like the truth. You have a high self-protection instinct and a pattern-sensitive nervous system. You notice red flags faster than most. You don't have the appetite for endless drama. You're willing to choose distance over disrespect, peace over pretty lies. That isn't heartlessness. That's a form of self-respect your past probably forced you to develop. The work now isn't to kill that instinct. It's to refine it so it serves you instead of running you. When it feels even a little bit safe, you can experiment with tiny shifts, saying, "Hey, that didn't sit right with me," once before you vanish, giving one honest conversation a chance with someone who's shown real care. Letting a few people cross your trust threshold slowly, instead of assuming everyone is the same story in a different body. If this felt like someone finally explained your "I'm done with everyone" switch better than you ever could, you're not alone, and you're not broken for needing that kind of protection. Subscribe and stay close. If you want more videos that decode patterns like this without shaming you, and tell me in the comments what usually makes you cut people off.